You're listening to The Affiliates, a podcast that features stories of entrepreneurs and young leaders who are changing the world for better every single day. My name is Alok Rathod, and I'm a film producer best known for projects such as Choice and The Doorbell. I'm sitting down with leaders to talk about their process, the lessons they've learned, and how to make an impact. In this episode, Anya talks about the importance of investing in yourself, the meaning behind the name of her brand, and the importance of fitness in daily lives. Welcome to the show, Anya.
Hi, Alec. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, what's your story?
I'm born and raised in a small town in Russia. And, I remember like it was yesterday. It was childhood, I'm not sure, like 10 years old. I was walking with my friend, and she said that her dream is to be a mother and to have a family and a big house. So I said to her that I'll be an entrepreneur. And I'm not sure that that time I knew what means entrepreneur, and I definitely didn't have any example in my field, in my surroundings. But sometimes I think as a child, you already know and feel that you're going to be someone specific. So I moved to Moscow when I was 17. I got my master's degree in information technology in design. And I worked in digital advertising in Moscow for a few years before moving to United States, to New York City. And basically here I am right now. After all these years, I'm photographing the most precious moments in people's lives, and I'm inspiring women to follow their dreams through fitness and competitions.
That's great. And I can certainly relate to that because I am originally from India and I moved here 2 years back. But I've seen your pictures and I think they are pretty amazing. And you are really good at what you're doing. And it's true that, sometimes kids suddenly have this clarity of mind that, I'll be this person when I grow up. And it's great to see that you thought at an early age that you want to be an entrepreneur, and now here you are all these years later, a very inspirational entrepreneur in New York City.
Thank you.
How did your education play a role in helping you develop a career?
University years back in Moscow definitely gave a strong foundation because I studied at the Moscow State University, which is, it brings you a broad knowledge of different areas. So it definitely gave me that base, that foundation to move forward in life. And moving here, and also as well, during the high school years, I graduated the art school, a dancing school that gave me more of a, cultural, artistic education. So all of that combined created a great foundation. And here, moving already here in the United States, I had a choice of what I need to learn more. I'm a big believer that as more you study, as more you invest in yourself, as greater you'll become in the future. We all have a choice to go to college and pick a degree for a specific job for future. Nothing wrong about that. But if you want to be someone, maybe there's a profession is not existing yet, or maybe nobody does some company like you envision it. You'll have to invest in yourself more, right? You have to maybe pick extra degree or extra courses. So here in New York City already, I went to FIT and, expanded my knowledge in artistic field already of this country to know better the marketing and artistic field in United States. And I already course, pre-MBA course in Harvard for, marketing and business skills. Yeah, so, I think you never stop learning, you never, stop investing in yourself, and education is a never-ending process.
And I'm also a big believer that, lifelong learning is how you can always keep growing and always get better at whatever you're doing. Because when I got into filmmaking almost 18 months back, I had no idea or any background that, what exactly is filmmaking. I discovered it by accident, and a friend helped me understand that, okay, maybe you can try filmmaking because you're such a passionate storyteller. And I felt that, yeah, but then I don't know anything about filmmaking. And while I didn't go to film school after that, I learned everything about filmmaking on the sets, and that became my foundation for becoming a filmmaker in future. So I completely agree that as long as you are learning and as long as you are growing, you will always have, like, new ideas and new people and new industries to work with. And it's inspiring to see that you are aware of that fact, and you have always made efforts to always better yourself. And that's a great example for all the people who wants to get into photography or fitness, because then they know that, okay, it doesn't matter where you come from, or it doesn't matter how well prepared you are. If you have that openness to learn and grow, you will eventually reach your destination. So what's your process of developing a great brand?
For me, brand is more as a personality. You look at the brand as like you're looking at the human being. So it has specific characteristic, it has a look, it has a feel, it has plans in the past. It's like a human being. So for me, successful brand always has personality and openness and some sort of vulnerability. And I see a lot of companies, especially like if I'll be talking about my areas of business, right? Photography or fitness. A lot of people fall into trying to make it perfect, trying to look perfect, trying to show as much perfection as they can. And I see more and more people fall into patterns of anxiety and worries. And eventually they're stopping themselves from developing their business and the brand because they're getting so frustrated. Are they good enough? It's like, I think the number one question of the younger generation right now, am I good enough? Am I doing good? Because of this all social medias, all, Facebook, Instagram, you constantly think that your brand is, not developed like the other brand. You have to embrace all obstacles, all challenges during the way, and don't look at them as mistakes or failures. Look at this as a process, as a brand growing up, like a baby growing up from being a toddler, to a teenager, to a young human being. So it's just stages of life, the stages of brand. But if you're from the beginning of building the brand, trying to show it as adult, why in reality it's just an infant, it's not going to be a great brand. It's going to be just a failure. I don't believe that fake it until you make it. Show it the way it is, and people are going to respond. People are going to respect you for the honesty, for the kindness, for authenticity.
In this day and age, as you mentioned, people are looking for perfection in each thing, and that's holding them back. And as an entrepreneur, I have learned that, perfection is the death of entrepreneurship, because to discover a new idea or a new strategy, you have to try and fail constantly to come up with a way that then makes that difference. Because uh, you can waste a lot of time getting caught up into this idea that we need to come up with a perfect strategy, perfect logo, perfect pictures, and I respect the thought behind that, but then it's just not feasible to do that. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs and, like, professionals around me who get caught up in that idea. And and that's very well said, as you mentioned, that you need to look at your brand as a human being, because then you are involved in not only nurturing it during the initial stages, but then also like, seeing through its growth phase and the maturity phase, which a lot of people don't do really. They just expect that their business should make them money immediately, like just by the virtue of being a business owner they should be earning lots of money, which is not true. People look at entrepreneurship as a sprint, whereas in reality it's like a marathon. where you really need to build it to a point to be able to earn returns from it. Um, and I really appreciate that you have taken that approach because uh, I've seen your growth over the years. Where I remember in one of the Facebook posts you mentioned that 3 years back I would have laughed at the idea of someone telling me that you will make a great photographer, and like 3 years later, here you are with a thriving business and all the recognition that you have gained. And that just goes on to show that you are a very clear and aware entrepreneur, and which means that you are set up for that future success.
Thank you. It was such an honor also to be invited for your podcast. It just gave me such a boost of inspiration. And if you don't mind, I want to share something with your followers,
Sure.
kind of, on the same subject. So I'm a believer in the flow, if you know that as a term. I never kind of really described it or put it anywhere on my website because it's not, I didn't want it to be a short explanation. And a few days ago, I got an email from, one of those subscription emails from Mindvalley. Maybe you heard about this company. And there was theory, not the theory, I guess the rule shared with the audience called the 4% rule to get in the flow. So
Right.
this rule described by this author, he has a few books, Steven Kotler. So he said that if you want to trigger flow, the challenge should be 4% greater than the skills. So I guess to all the conversation that we just get for the flow, for all people who may listen to us, who may be on any stage of growing the brand right now, as long as you embrace the skills you have right now learning, but daily add 4% more challenge to what you can potentially do, you'll grow, you'll get successful.
Yeah, and that's a great idea. And I was not aware of the reason why your brand is called Artfitnessflow, and I appreciate that you took this opportunity to share this with not only my listeners but then with me and the other larger audience members. And I think that's a very well thought out process to follow because 4% doesn't overwhelm you to grow every day, but then incrementally it gives you that exponential results, which you can see once you have made that progress. And I will certainly now try to adhere to that philosophy because 4% is really that edge that I feel I'll gain if I continue to just build on it. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
How has the people around you, like your friends and family, inspired you?
My family actually are, I don't know, how would you call it, overachievers. I'm the youngest in the family, so all I have two brothers and a sister, plus all my parents. Everyone graduated school with diplomas and higher degrees and everything. So from growing up, I already was following the higher standards. And I think that's my family was always keeping me to higher standards. And here in the United States, when I met my husband, he was in the fitness industry, and he brought to me a new area of my life that I wasn't, I guess, paying that much attention to is fitness, which fitness are also not that many years. It's like, so I'm really grateful for him, for my husband to inspire me to go and pursue career in a way in fitness, as it's not my full-time career, but still it's a passion career on the side for helping me to believe in me and explore more about me as a human being, because I didn't know that I can achieve myself so much, that I can do so much, that I can be so powerful. And it was amazing to see how I had people reaching out to me. And after I was sharing my experience, to share some sort of routine of fitness or my view on situations. So it's people who are around you, I believe they're always inspiring you to be the best of your version of yourself, which helps you to grow professionally and personally.
That's so inspiring to see that you have such a supportive husband and you come from this family of overachievers, because I come from a completely opposite background where none of my family members were like, overachievers in terms of education, but they were overachievers in terms of like just like, finding their way out of a problem, in the sense that, I'm a third generation entrepreneur. So my grandfather was an entrepreneur, my dad is an entrepreneur, and then I'm an entrepreneur. So just being in that environment gave me also a lot of awareness about like what it is to run a business. And I would see my grandfather and my dad just discuss ideas that, okay, it's the time for festivals, so maybe we should try this type of advertising, or maybe we should expand our product line into certain other companies. So my family business is into electronics distribution, so we buy in bulk all the electronic stuff. So that's like
Mm-hmm.
all the computers, gaming consoles, televisions, air conditioners, and then we pass it down the supply chain. So that's how, like, it began initially, and now we have expanded into other things. But so it's great that you were able to find that voice within yourself through that support from your husband, because I understand how difficult it is to maintain or like a grow a full-time business, and then at the same time focus on a fitness approach also. And I when I was in Los Angeles, I was working at a university as fitness trainer, and I know how difficult that process is. um, but it's that's why, like, people who are an inspiration such as you um, are able to reach a wide audience, because they know that the stacks are I mean, the odds are stacks against them, yet they persist and they're able to achieve that. And I've been following your fitness videos also, and if Anya can do it, then I can also do it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so far, like, I haven't taken to that idea. But after, like, having this conversation with you, I'll certainly keep, like, pushing myself and keep everyone posted on, like, yeah, here you go, like, look at my six pack abs, and whenever they come. But yeah, so it's inspiring to see that you have been able to balance both of them.
Thank you. I think that fitness, I just add a little bit that fitness, it's more of a tool that everybody should utilize because it doesn't cost any money. Fitness brings you that energy necessarily. It depends of which type of fitness you pick, whether it's weightlifting or maybe something more, functional as a TRX, or maybe some yoga classes. It gives you a necessarily energy for your life, for your career. So eventually it does not take energy from your life, but gives you extra. I know it sounds counterintuitive when you're waking up 1 hour earlier, 2 hours earlier to go in a gym before your work day, but it's amazing how much you can achieve.
How would you say is your leadership style different than others?
I think with this topic, to help me understand my position, um, my boss, I guess, my employer a few years ago, right before I moved to United States, I was working in digital advertising agency, and I remember that I called as a, as fun, as I called my employer a boss, and he didn't like that. He told me, "I'm not a boss. I'm a leader. I'm almost next to the rest of you guys. I'm always working as many hours and do the dirty job, in that way." So for me, that just stays in my mind, stays in my brain for a long time, that wow, the leader is a person who doesn't tell what to do. Leader is the person who goes first and like pave the way for others, to follow and to do the work. So for me, it's important to like especially running the business, I'm in a point of my business right now that I'm definitely need to outsource or hire people, because the amount of work, like I get more clients, I get much more work. I'll need to hire people soon. But I know that, for example, I can just hire like for retouchers or programmers unless I'll be fully immersed in those fields. So for me, leader is always the person who does more and explore the areas. So when this person talks to others or inspire people to do something, it's not just, command. It's more of a comes from the knowledge.
And yeah, those are exactly my thoughts as well, because I feel that leadership is not a position, it's a responsibility. And you have to understand that you are leading people towards a common goal or a vision. And you need to, as you rightly said, pave the way for the other peoples to follow you. And that's so. Like for me, it's such a liberating idea in itself that people are able to follow you on this quest to achieving something, and just having that wonderful shared experiences together. um, that's the reason I really love the process of building things, because people come together, the ideas, like, begin to take shape of reality, and in the end you have a product or a service that people can consume, and hopefully uh, their lives get better with that in some form or the other. And I've tried to maintain that with my company as well. I try to hire the right people, not necessarily the smartest people. I mean, of course we look for smart people. It's not that we disregard hard work that goes into achieving certain grades or a certain degree, but the focus primarily is on skills. And like, if people understand the essence of what they're doing, then skills can be taught, like, through training programs and tutorials and mentorships. You can teach people to
Right.
do a certain thing, but it's important to hire right people so that the dynamics are right. So you could hire the smartest person that's out there, but if you don't develop a good working relationship with them, then you will never be able to get your job done. Whereas if you hire someone who does not have necessary skills, but has that hunger and that fire in the belly to just get things done and is open to learning, then that person will get you to your goal faster than anybody else can. So I understand the position that you're in, because I'm pretty much at the similar position where I now will have to hire, like, more assistants, more writers, more editors, so that the flow of projects that are coming in are taken care of within the deadlines. So it's you had a great supervisor back home in Russia that was able to um, share this idea with you, and I agree with him that Uh, boss has a very negative connotation, that boss means that you're establishing that hierarchy and that authority, not good for, like, ideas to emerge and grow. Whereas if it's open and transparent and more like a partnership rather than a hierarchy, then the better ideas can come out of it. And I try to maintain that as well. So what kind of impact would you like to see your work have on people?
It may sound like cliche, but growing up, I thought that people who have money are usually people, like sharks
Hmm.
who go over the head of other people. And I
Right.
think like in my life, I want to um, show other people that you can be smart, successful, and, have great body and run the business and be kind, passionate, honest, over deliver in terms of your service and product, and that you're still going to be successful and profitable company. So you don't have to be, ripping off people or, trying to steal or making some extra fees. That the successful business can be built on honesty, on kindness, and on a great work. And I guess that's my primary goal. And I think it's a lifetime goal. I don't think that it has any timeline for this. And I'll do my best to, go that way. and do as much as I can daily. So in the end of my days, I can say that yes, I did that.
I, for a very long time, felt that, okay, if you are trying to build a business, then it has to be your sole focus, and then you don't necessarily have time to, like, go out and have fun and relax and do this and that. So I was, and I still pretty am to a great extent a very, serious entrepreneur, in the sense that, who feels that, deviating even slightly from the core idea behind the entrepreneurship or my company makes me feel guilty a bit, like, so when I'm, like, let's say, hanging out with my friends in a club, or, like, catching a movie, or going for one of those fancy dinners, then I feel like, oh, no, 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 I shouldn't be doing this. I should be working on my company, and, like, recording more episodes for podcasts, writing more scripts, and, like, having more partnerships and collaborations. But, after talking to you, like, just when you were mentioning your idea behind the impact that you would like to have, it made me realize that, okay, you have set an example for me in terms of, you can, like, work out and have a great body, and you can be honest, and you can be clear, and, like, balance both of that, um, without necessarily compromising on each. And, that's the balance that precisely I was also looking for, because I was like, okay, because I understand fitness, because I used to teach that at a university. I understand that, okay, it's important and I want to do it, but then I sort of almost take my business too seriously to kind of not, focus more on fitness or any other thing, like, for that matter. But looking at you, who has, like, very clearly established that, okay, you can do both without necessarily compromising, and you're married, so, like, you have, like, your own commitment towards your family, and then you have to manage, like, the other stuff. So if you can do it, again, as I say, then, I can do it. And that's really inspiring, because um, you set up these glass ceilings for yourself, where you feel like, okay, I cannot go higher than this, but it's exactly that. It's a glass ceiling. It looks like it's the end of your capability or your productivity, but it's really not. Like, you can still push through it and set new heights. So yeah, that's certainly that I'll be looking to follow, because, you know whatever you do, I mean, your action defines your legacy. You don't need to say that, you'll do this or that. If you
Mhm.
believe in an idea and you just keep following that all your life, the body of work that you will leave behind is your legacy, and people will see that and continue to build on that.
Just want to warn you that this is, I guess, one of, I just, it's funny we talking about it because I was just writing the post on Instagram this morning, right about this. And I truly believe this is one of the hardest thing we face as entrepreneurs, as to be able to find that balance and to live life and to do the best we possibly can in our business, take care of yourself and family. So to find that balance and not fall only into running the business is one of the hardest task I ever probably had. But this one time, because I think if somebody will ask you what success is, it's going to include a few things, right? Not just having a successful company. So I think it should be a goal for all of us.
Yeah, certainly. And, because of a certain lifestyle that now I've fallen into, my parents are now getting concerned, because my parents are typical Indian parents, and I'm 27, and they're like, "Oh, well, son, if you are just working so hard all the time, how do you expect to get married so soon then?" Like, they are, you're 27, you're late, and, like, like, because they got married when they were 21. So my parents are really young. So I'm 27, but my parents are like 49. They haven't even hit 50. So, but then they tell me that, okay, you're always working, and you're going at business meetings, and you're going to conferences, and, like, why don't you, like, relax sometime, like, go hang out with your friends, meet new people, fall in love, and, like, that's also, like your personal life should also exist. Not everything that you do should be so consuming towards your business. And as you rightly said, when you define success, it just doesn't have to be in terms of how much you have grown your company or how much money you have made. It's also in how many meaningful relationships you have built along the way. And they are just simply concerned that, okay, if I keep working this way, then I might never get married. So that idea just haunts them that, okay, son, you're late, and then you need to really, like, fall in love. I'm like, it's not in my hands, like.
Explain them that you have a plan now.
Great. So what's next? What are the exciting projects that you're currently working on, and what can the listeners expect from you going ahead?
So what's next is my company currently is I'm delivering a service to my clients, right? I don't want to open all secrets yet. I'll just say I'll add a product line to my company. So whatever that will be, that still stays a secret. And hopefully maybe we'll talk to you later about it, like in a few months, and I'll share on the podcast or in our private conversation product line that I'm working on right now. I'm working for the last 6 months, and since I'm really determined to create a quality product, it's not done yet. It's it's still suppliers and everything. It's a long process. Yes, but for me, next will be is making sure that everything is set for my business in terms of photography as service. Everything is covered, and I'll start to introduce my clients to the product line.
That's great. And I'm certainly excited to see what you have in store for um, the the product that you're working on, and looking forward to it. Um, but yes, certainly looking forward to whatever you have in store for your clients and the other people. And I hope that you find success in your future endeavors, and you continue to grow, and set an example for not only the women all across the world, but then for also men like me who are looking to have more balance in life, and looking to continuously grow and learn. So thank you so much for doing whatever you are doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to recording this podcast. It's so inspiring to see how you create films, how you created now this podcast and bringing together people from different industry and different backgrounds. And I was already, binge listening all your, shows that you already released. And good luck with this show. I think it really has a huge potential because your show so many, like I already said, such a diversity of different people, young people who are getting profession in different fields.
It's great honor to have you on this show. Thank you so much for doing this episode, and I hope that we both continue to scale greater heights and inspire people in the process.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Afflatus. If you like what you have heard, do us a favor and share the episode with your network on social media. It helps. If you would like to know more about the show or share your opinion on the episodes, connect with us on facebook.com/UnciaFilms. That's facebook.com/UNCIAFILMS. If you would like to support the crowdfunding campaign of my latest film, The Doorbell, then click on the link mentioned in the description. Even a single dollar helps. Thank you so much for listening to The Afflatus.